What's up, guys? My name is Mikko Hytönen and this is Jokes and More Podcast, baby. A show where we talk about Jiu-Jitsu, life and everything in between. We are capturing the magic moment after a hard Jiu-Jitsu training. Today I'm joined by super talented brown belt, Mr. William Whatmore. What's up?
How you doing?
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
How's your week been?
My week's been quite tiring. I started on Monday, had like 4 sessions on Monday. Absolutely killed me on Monday, and then Tuesday yesterday was a bit lighter. I was teaching, and then of course Wednesday is competition class at 10 a.m. Can't miss that, and we had some good sparrings today, didn't we? Nice.
We had actually. You beat my ass, and I'm still bitter.
It wasn't that hard. After my round with Santeri, I was so tired. He put me with specifics with him, so I did literally 20 minutes with him, and it was just Sergio was there in the corner watching, and he was like, he couldn't even watch me.
But I think that's a good when Santeri chooses you to be the guy who does the specific with him, because actually he was telling me in a previous podcast that sometimes if I'm lazy, these young guys, Sergio and William, they catch me. They catch me. So I think that's how it's building you guys.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, to be fair, my confidence is only growing against him, and I've definitely got him. I'm ready for him.
Nice.
And I'm getting more and more frustrated with our roles, and I'm thinking more and more about how I can catch him.
That's beautiful. And actually, we just was talking with Santeri like a few days ago when we were showering, and we were talking about like some coaches, they are bitter if the students start to beat them. But we were like, it's fucking amazing. If the guys who we train, they start to become better than us, that's amazing. That's I think that's what coaches would be. That's what we aim
Absolutely.
for. That's what we aim for.
I think like as a competitor, I think it's very important to have that mindset of I want to surpass my coach.
Yeah.
I want to be better than him. Where can I be better than him?
Yeah.
Where is he better than me, and how can I work on that? And then where can I be better than him, and things like that. Because of course, if your mentality is always like, okay, Santeri's going to always be better than me, then how do you expect to win anything?
Yeah.
To win anything big.
Do you mean like mindset-wise? You need to be able to also kind of prepare yourself. Like I'm going to beat my own coach if I want to be the best at the best.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I have actually a good story. The first time I actually ever entered this gym, it was during a COVID period.
Yeah.
And I was training in Marbella with Carlos Varona.
Yeah.
And he brought me here one day. He was just like, William, I've got some good training for you, whatever. I'd never heard of Santeri.
Yeah.
I was a gi player actually.
Yeah.
And everything was shut because of COVID. Everything was closed. So we came in through the back door, and it was like a secret training.
I remember you used that door there.
Were you there or not?
I was most of the times, I was here also.
But we always used that back door, and everything was like, there were curtains there, so everything was secret. And anyway, so I roll with like one of his blue belts and I finish him or whatever, and then Santeri's like, let's go. And so I pull guard as usual, start playing my stuff, he passes me, beats me, whatever. And then the round finishes and he says, okay, William, we go again, but this time you stand up. And I'm like, nobody's ever said that to me. Not that I'm anything, but nobody's ever said you stand up right now. He gets me, he does like an ippon, boom on my back, and my back cracks completely. And then he just arm bars me straight away. And I remember just looking around, everyone stopped their roll. And I was just like, shit. So yeah, from that point on, I was like, this guy, I need to beat this guy.
Oh man, Santeri is so good. I remember also actually, this is already, let's say 2 years ago, but we were having no-gi round, and I was some kind of foot sweep stuff, and I was sweeping Santeri. He smashed on the floor, and I was like celebrating on the way down, and he armbarred me like where I was following the motion, because I was like, yeah, that split second, I was kind of celebrating the movement. Boom, he got me. But all right, so. Walk me through like your normal week at the moment. Like how many times you teach, how many times you train by yourself?
Okay, so I teach each night in Malaga, in the center of Malaga. Right now we're in Torremolinos, of course. So I teach in the night. So when I actually train is in the morning. Now I train Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 a.m. here. And then after that I do some strength and conditioning in Malaga with my coach, and then I teach in the evening. And that's basically my week. On Tuesdays I just lift, and then I teach. Wednesday again, 10 a.m. I'm here, and that's basically it. So I'll lift. I'll do like some gym about 4 times a week, and then jiu-jitsu I'll do about 5-6 times a week. Sometimes double trainings in the day, depends how tired I am. And yeah, that's what it's looking like right now. I've actually got a competition coming up in Vienna.
Nice.
With Sergio, we're going to go there. And so now I'm going to try and bring the intensity down a bit, because I actually do feel quite a bit tired. But yeah, that's no days off. I train on Sunday also. But yeah, I've got nothing else to do. I don't have family. I don't have.
But it's like anything. If you thrive to excellence, I think you should be like have a little bit of obsession, and just you need to put so much hours into it.
Absolutely.
It needs to be your number one thing if you want to be on the top.
And it's a passion. I love it. I definitely love it. I wouldn't say I love gym. I don't love gym, but jiu-jitsu, I really love it. When somebody comes in and beats me or does something I've never seen before, I'm like, I need to know exactly what he did. I'm gonna ask that person. I want all the details. I want to squeeze them. I really love it. So
that's beautiful. Yeah. Do you remember your first ever jiu-jitsu training?
That's a good question.
Where it was? What was the gym?
Okay, yeah. So I grew up I'm actually Irish, but I grew up in France.
Okay.
In Montpellier, in the south of France.
Okay.
And that was where my first training was. Actually, I remember going to my dad. I used to play football. That was my sport. I used to love football. I was like, I want to be a professional football player. But I always had like love for martial arts and kung fu and all of that stuff. So I remember going to my dad one day and being like, that's it. I've watched Karate Kid. I want to do kung fu. And I go to him and he's like, okay, William, you're a very aggressive kid, so we're not going to make you hit people. We're going to put you in judo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'll take what I get. If he's going to give me judo, I'll take it. So I go to the gym, and sure enough, it was judo, but it was like Japanese jiu-jitsu. So it was newaza, judo, and karate. They were the three things. And I instantly fell in love with newaza, the grand part. I remember thinking it was so cool how somebody bigger, it's the classic thing, how somebody bigger can beat somebody that's smaller. How somebody smaller can beat somebody that's bigger. And that was it. I don't remember exactly my first training ever, but yeah. And then, of course, I was in that gym and my teacher was like, okay, William, you don't want to do judo, you don't want to do karate, you just want to roll around on the floor, you need to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And so I changed gym and that was it.
That was still, you changed gym in France still?
Yeah, that was still.
Tell me a little bit about the background. So you were born in Ireland?
Yeah, in Dublin.
What age did you move to France?
So I was born in Dublin, and then when I was 3, I don't remember it, but my parents, we just moved to France. I think the philosophy or the way of thinking was we have a lot of money in Dublin, but we don't spend time with our family.
Yeah.
Because we're working constantly. It takes us 2 hours to get home from work.
Yeah.
And we're minted, we've got a lot of money, but then we spend no time with the family and we're tired. So the way of thinking was, we'll go to France, try and get some money, and now we'll have loads of time to spend with the family. And actually what happened was the exact opposite. They had no money, but we were spending loads of time together. So yeah. And then when I was 17, I moved to England, to Reading. I believe it's west of London, and I trained there for about a year. Then there's a lot. So then I went from Reading to Valencia for about 6 months to a year. COVID happened. I moved to Lisbon in Portugal, stayed there for about 6 months to a year, and then I came to Malaga, and I've been here ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you speak fluent French, English?
And a bit of Spanish, yeah.
Okay, so so because I always admired you, you have excellent manners on the mats always, and you have this kind of a traditional martial arts vibe. Does it come from the AK traditional background from karate, or you're just raised good in your house because you have really
Thank
good...
you very much, first of all.
Good.
And right back at you. Thank you for the compliment. You're also a very, very well-mannered person.
Thanks, man.
But I wouldn't say it's from the traditional background of martial arts. I would say it's just, I was brought up to respect everyone, so I feel like as a person, regardless of the belt, regardless of what status, economic status, you should always respect one another, because you never know what's going to happen. Tomorrow maybe they'll be on top of you. There's always going to be somebody stronger, smarter than you. So I think you should respect everyone,
Yeah. That's good mantra, and also I can see you have this kind of a teacher's mindset, because there's a lot of good jiu-jitsu guys, but they are not so good at passing the art, or even so that they don't kind of want to pass it. They will teach, but their passion is not to make the other person to learn. And you have the same kind of, I can see that when you're teaching, you really want the other person to kind of get it. What has been the hardest when you have been starting to teach quite a lot now? So what has been the hardest part, or is there a hard part?
There is actually a few times I explain a technique from my point of view and I don't realize that there are details that I'm missing. So I'm doing a technique like armbar from side control, like the cross one with the underhook, and there are things where I position my body naturally, but I'm not translating that or communicating that to the students. And then once they start doing the technique, they're like, William, where do you do this? And I'm like, oh, that's true, I didn't explain that. And so I gather all that information, and I think it's also good. It's part of my training. And then the next time I teach that technique, I'm like, okay, I remember that these guys were asking me, where do I put my thing? So I'm just going to explain that right now. And I learned that. So I wouldn't say it's a hard part, but it's definitely like a surprising part. I didn't expect that. I always thought that I'd be able to communicate all the details from the get-go, but it's not that easy.
It's not that easy, but this makes also teaching very good for your own progress, because you really, really need to put the technique on the pieces. Not only, okay, I can do nice knee slice from here, but really put it on the pieces, and it makes, I think, your techniques even better when you put them on pieces and just teach them to other person. How old are you?
I'm 23 years old.
Come on! Fucking, that's amazing.
And I feel old, I promise you I feel old.
But I love we have such a great group of young beasts here. You, Sergio, Vince, and there is a lot of other guys, but I'm so happy. And all of you guys, I love you. You're really, 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 really good guys, and it's amazing to see your progress. And actually, I trained with you maybe first time. It was, you're maybe 19, I don't know. Well, I like when you started to train with us.
About
after
4 years ago.
Yeah. That's 4 years ago.
Do you remember our first training or not? I don't remember it.
I don't remember. Probably it was a gi.
It was probably.
But you are already then. You were chasing the triangles. Yeah. And back in the day, I was able to escape. Now it's a different ball game. But yeah, it's been amazing to see the progress.
Actually, when I came here, I was like only gi player.
Yeah.
I actually hated no gi. I was like, these guys are slippy. It's like, I don't know, I thought it was just a less technical side of Jiu-Jitsu. And I always loved the lapel also. I really loved the lapel, playing all the worm guard stuff. And then of course we get here, and then I was actually getting, like, people were being like, oh, you're not training no-gi, eres un maricón, which is like, oh, you're a bit of a wuss for not training no-gi. And I was like, I'm gonna train a bit of no-gi. And then of course, little by little, this is mainly a no-gi gym. We also do gi, but mainly no-gi. And then little by little, it just went eating my life. And now I actually train more no-gi than gi.
But you still do gi every week?
Absolutely. No? I still love gi.
And I think also in the traditional way, of course you can specialize, but if you do 100%, let's say no-gi or gi, I think that's, in a long term, in my mind, problematic if you want to be complete martial artist. If you want to be like learning the full spectrum and you never know what is future is going to bring. So I think you should be keeping the both things alive. And we just talked with Santere, so we said like we are not going to give belts if people don't train the gi, because you don't need a belt. But it's amazing that you still train also with gi. Do you still do lapel stuff when you train with gi?
Absolutely. I do it less. Actually, I feel like my gi game is going down, and I really don't like it because I used to feel so comfortable in the gi.
Yeah.
But because I'm not training as hard anymore, and also the hard trainings are in the evenings, which is what I'm teaching. So I can't get those rounds with Santeri smashing me or with you or with things like that. So I definitely feel like my level's going down. But I don't actually do it to be a complete martial artist. I just do it because I love it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. This is what, like, if I wanted to be a complete martial artist, I would be training boxing, kickboxing, taekwondo. I mean, I think they're nice, but I don't have a passion for them. I really have a passion for gi and for no-gi and just for learning cool things.
And the grappling, my first coach, Jasse Junkari, actually, he's a huge fan of catch wrestling, and he always told me, like, Mikko, we want to be mixed grappling artists. So he was mixing like old catch moves, judo moves, and just creating this. I love this idea that, do it, by the way, study Jiu-Jitsu. And what is your method of studying? Do you watch random videos or you have some kind of system? Tell me a little bit about how do you study this art?
Yeah, just to go back to your philosophy of your teacher, I think that's a very good thing, because I think there's a lot of aspects in the world. There's a lot of parts of the world that have their specialized grappling, and if we could bring everything together, then will create like an unstoppable beast, basically.
Yeah.
Because you always see like, oh, this guy uses that move from catch wrestling, which beats the jiu-jitsu guys. We need to bring everything together because it's all grappling, and I think that's something I'd love to learn also. I'd love to learn from everyone. But yes, studying, I do. Yes, definitely. I love to watch. I mean, John Danaher talks a lot. I put it on like 1.5 or two times.
For me, I need to put it 5.
Yeah. but
he's amazing.
The details he did, like, I mean, the details don't lie. And everything he teaches, I actually apply a lot of his things, a lot of his systems, and like just the way he thinks. I've always said it. He doesn't teach a style. He teaches mechanics of how things work. It's not, oh, if you like to do this. No, this is how the body works, so this is how you should control it. And that's what I really love about him. It's like, it's not because you've got long legs that you can do it. Everyone could do this technique. So I do that. I watch a bit of Gordon Ryan. I also love to watch competition. If I see somebody hitting a cool move in competition, I'll try to analyze exactly how they did it and then replicate it in training. I'll also ask my fellow friends that train with me, Santeri, anybody, as I said, that hits me with a cool move in training, I'll always at the end of the class ask them about it, and that's how I learn most. But I've always got, like, during the day I'm always thinking about little things and
little. Do you have a notebook, or you just put it in your mind?
I've got a notebook, but I haven't been using it lately. I've actually got notes on my phone, actually, of things that I like to study. So I've got the notebook, which I haven't used for a while, but I'd say the notes on my phone I've used a lot more recently. Yeah.
Nice. What is something that you have been working at the moment?
Passing, definitely.
From different positions, what position from overall passing game? So,
like, what happened was that I was always like a bottom player, and eventually you get a bit bored of doing the same things all over and over again. There are different styles that you can do, but what actually happened was I went to leg lock camp about a month ago in Poland, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to sit down like everyone else and try to heel hook everyone, or am I going to try and pass people who are leg lockers? Because if you go there, nobody starts standing. They're always like this. They're always already ready on the ground. So you can either double pull with them, or you can try and pass the guard. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to pull guard at all. I'm just going to start passing these guys, because they've all got amazing guards. They're all good leg lockers. So of course I got finished. But there was this one guy called Mantas. He's from Lithuania, I believe. Mantas Dobles. He was passing everyone, and he passed me, and he was just passing everyone, and I was like, I need to learn how this guy's passing. His pressure was so good. So again, I asked him some questions at the end of the class, got a few details, and then I started applying what he explained to me. So that's what I'm doing these days. So it's more like just constant pressure, basically. You can pass like this, like fast, but it's not a very high percentage thing. I feel like tiring the person out is a better thing to do. Santeri does that very well, actually. He tires me the hell out, and then I just give him the pass. It's like passing a white belt.
How do you feel the progress? Have you made progress? Of course you made, but do you feel it by yourself? Like you can pass better guys, and you feel more confident?
I definitely do, yes.
Structure in your passing, oh?
I definitely do. Passing is something that I'm trying to get better at, and I feel it when I talk to people, or after the round, they're like, oh, you put a lot of pressure there, and I'm like, that's exactly what I was trying to do. So yeah, I do feel a bit of progress.
And I kind of agree on that, like the pressure passing, because I used to, when I started, I was already an old man. I was 32 when I started, but then I was fixated with Marcelo Garcia and how he passes, and I was like passing pretty fast. But then I understood like the fast passing, like you said, it might work, but if it doesn't work, I'm using so much energy. I'm bouncing around, and I need to be super fast, and I need to rely on athleticism. So the heavy passing is something that also I'm trying to work quite a lot, but
I mean, you should be able to combine it also. Like, it depends obviously on your style and on your body, but you should be able to combine like fast movements with pressure passing. That's what Santeri was telling me, actually, and I agree with it. Like, you should be able to hold a position like J-point camping, and then if he starts to explode, you can like use his explosion to like move quite fast and then get to another point where he's using more energy than me. So I think you should combine both of them. Especially me, like, I'm not that heavy. I mean, I might be the heaviest in the competition team, but like, I'm not a big guy. I'm not like Santeri or El Bicho, you know?
Yeah.
So I still have to move quite fast, and I'm naturally like quite a fast guy, not heavy, you know.
Yeah.
Like a wet carpet. That's how it describes Antonio.
It's unbelievable. I think his weight, how he controls his weight, that's maybe the most impressive part in his game, because when he wants, I feel like he's almost impossible to move. If he's on top of me, like I don't know what to do when he really like sticks to there. But
Sergio was saying it actually after today's round, after today's rolls. He's like a tractor, and and there's no reverse.
Yeah.
There's like, he just goes little by little, crushing you, and there's no going back. So like he moves from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3, and there's no going back to 1. Yeah. And then at the end he's got your back, and then you're just there.
And actually, this is the reason we did Monday. I was teaching the no-gi class, and I was talking about positional hierarchy. And that's exactly what, especially for the beginners, they need to understand that from close guard, what is my goal? Where do I need to go? Of course, I want to go to side control. Many times I get caught half guard. Then I want to, from half guard, my goal, I can go straight to mount, or I can go to side control. Do you teach, when you're teaching, do you have like a positional, for example, this week you teach close guard, next week half guard?
Yes, so actually I teach at 2 different gyms. I teach in a place called El Honorable, the Honorable, in Malaga, with Teo and Marta, and they don't impose what I teach, but they like kind of direct me. So, okay, guys, today we're teaching posición de control, so like positional control positions. So I can decide. I can be like, okay, mount, side control, things like this. So I can decide that. But then I also teach in a Muay Thai school where I decide exactly what I do. So I send the guys a message on the group. I'm like, okay, this week we're going to train this. Next week we're going to train this. And I always try I try to analyze what are the most common positions people find themselves in Jiu-Jitsu, like close guard, half guard, side control. So I try to like really emphasize on those, and I won't go past that until I feel like they have a good understanding of the different positions. So I won't start showing weird leg locks or things like that until I feel like, okay, they know exactly what full guard, half guard, passing half guard, stabilizing side control to mount, the guy spins, you get the back, very basic things like this. I want my students and the beginners to understand that before we go forward.
That's amazing, and like the building the foundation. You know, I teach the BJJ blueprint system by myself, and it's like a super beginners. There is 6 main positions, and there is top and bottom, and we need to have 2 each box. Like you need to have 2 moves, top and bottom from every main position, and that's going to be the foundation. And then we can start build nice stuff around that. But it's really nice to hear that you have this kind of structure also. What was the training for you in the France in the first Jiu-Jitsu gym? Did they have like this kind of structure way of teaching? Did they have curriculum, or how the training was? How you remember how it started?
I mean, the thing is, I've done so many trainings since then. It's kind of like mushed into a
ball.
No
worries.
But it was like, I would say no. It was more primitive. It was like, okay, I'll show you guys a triangle. And then we would do rounds, and that's it. It wasn't that. I actually have a good memory of us doing like a Shark Tank before a competition, and I remember he put me in the middle. It was in the gi, and people were just like for 20 minutes just on me. Even if I lost, I would stay in the middle because I was competing, and I felt like that definitely improved my game. And it's also like a mental aspect. Even if you lose, you still have to try harder. And the coach was there being like, come on, William, there's 5 more minutes left, you need to push. And I felt like that's something that helped me. Then when I moved from that Japanese Jiu-Jitsu gym to the real BJJ gym, yes, we started doing more like deep thinking of Jiu-Jitsu. And the guy he's a good black belt. And I improved a lot there.
Okay, let's start to talk a little bit of the competitions. You remember your first competition, Jiu-Jitsu competition?
Yes, it was in France. I remember.
What belt?
I was like an orange belt or something. I was like 16 or something like that.
So actually, how old are you when you started focusing fully on Jiu-Jitsu? Because you're underage. Because if you're orange belt, you're under 16.
Probably 17, but no, because I started at 16, and then I remember him being like, okay, 2 months in, you're going to compete.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And actually, it was like the equivalent of FILA, like UWW.
Yeah.
Like the government would pay for a lot of the things, and it was very good because that was like Newaza. It wasn't BJJ.
Okay.
But it was still all the ground. It was still the base of the same rules. You could pull guard. You could do all those things. And yeah, I remember it. I remember actually finishing people with a straight footlock, which is crazy because I definitely didn't have the good mechanics. But yeah, I remember that. And then I competed. I never competed in a proper jiu-jitsu tournament until I got to Spain, like a real BJJ tournament. And I was a blue belt. And what happened was I felt like I was going to win the competition, but I lost my second match. He passed my guard. And then I actually went against a guy from here. He's called Vicente Quines or something like this. And I remember I was very upset from the last match. And I pulled guard, and as I was pulling guard, he swept my other foot, my legs went flying, and he passed me to mount, and then he Ezekiel choked me from mount.
Oof.
And I was like, I'm never competing again. I remember just being like, I'm never competing again. And then the next time I competed was Euros, a year and a half after, I think. And I did quite well, actually, but it wasn't the best. I won my first match by triangle, and then the second match I lost by advantage because we both pulled and he stood up first.
That's so confusing still there for me, the advantage stuff. Sometimes I like a... But now you have been competing quite a lot, and is that something that you want to do? What is the big dream as a competitor, as a jiu-jitsu athlete? Do you want to be a world champion?
I mean, I think it's a good mindset to have, to like want to become a world champion, to want to succeed and achieve big things, and I believe that I can. I've trained with a lot of good people, and they're not that far away from me. And I also, as I was explaining about Santeri, I also believe that I am better than those people.
Yeah.
Just more work needs to be done. So I would say that I would like to compete. I don't really enjoy competing, but I would like to compete because it forces me to do things I don't want.
What do you mean you don't like it? Do you not like the preparation or the actual kind of everything what comes to it, but you still do it? Like, do you feel good afterwards? Like, I'm happy that I did it.
Yes, definitely, absolutely. No, there's no actual. If I think about it, there's no reason why I shouldn't compete.
Yeah,
that's the truth. But what I mean is, like, I feel like it just takes the fun away from jiu-jitsu. The reason I have a passion for it is because I really believe it's an extremely fun sport.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I could be doing this for 100 years and I would learn something new every day. And that's why I love it. Whereas competition, I just feel like it's more of like a.
I feel the mindset, and because also for me, like I'm a teacher, I'm a coach. My job is to make other people better, and for me, I'm goofing around like almost always. Like I give out positions, I try to do it on the way that people don't understand it and stuff like that. But if I would be competing, huge problem if I create this habit of kind of not being, tight all the time. And I think you also, because you want to be, expressive, you want to try new stuff. And if you're in competition mode, I don't think the competition is the best place to, try fucking rolling kimura if you have ever done it before. Of course, it might look good, but I feel you fun.
That's exactly, the way you described it is exactly how I feel. And actually, I did... what was it? So I did trials last year, and I felt very good in trials. Like I was quite chilled out. I remember there was the second match. I remember Santeri was in my corner, and he was like, "William, if he tries to go for like a back take, just hold his ankle." And I'm like, "Okay, what does that mean? Does he have good back takes then?" And I remember my legs started feeling like spaghetti.
Yeah.
and yeah, but I still felt quite relaxed and quite chill. And then after that, I did ADCC Spain, and I remember losing to a guy that I know I'm better than, and I got him in so many bad positions for him during the match, and then in the end, I think I ended up making a mistake because I was too greedy, and that's when it started going downhill. I ended up second at that competition, and then I just felt a lot of pressure, and I still did well. I did like Euros last year. I finished third at brown belt. But then, even then, I come back here and everyone's like, "Oh, you did so well," and that makes me feel more pressure. Like, "Oh, they expect this of me now," Whereas I've always knew what I was, but now everyone's like, oh, you're expected to win.
Yeah, and everybody's kind of
Like
believe the hype and just, but that's the truth, like the truth also, because you are such a good already now and getting better all the time. But what is you got bronze on the...
Yeah, I got so it was a good run.
Yeah.
I won my first fight by a Aoki lock.
Yeah.
Then the second fight I actually fought a Polish guy called Nathan. He's quite good. He's a world champion actually.
Yeah.
And I managed to beat him just by being more tactical than him, and I had a close encounter with his back. I nearly took his back, and then I ended up winning that fight. Then the third fight, I remember just dominating the guy. And then the fourth fight, it was the semi-finals, and I went against the guy who won the category. And I just remember feeling that the guy is a lot more experienced in these rule sets than me. I remember he was just really motivated. We shook hands. He grabs my hands, he goes down. I go down with him, he goes up straight away. An advantage to him. I go back down, he goes back up. And I'm like, okay, this guy he can play the rules so well. So then I go back up and he's on the ground, and I'm like, fuck, I want to be on the ground because this is my game. I like playing guard. Now I'm on top, I'm losing, and I'm probably not going to be able to pass his guard. So I remember putting pressure for like 5 minutes, and I couldn't do anything. And he won by 2 advantages or something like that. And then I lost, and I felt like, that's the guy that beat me. That's the way he's going to beat me. It's part of the game, of course. But I just felt like, just a bit more experience, and I would have been able to win that competition. But no sad stories. I should have been able to finish him and pass his guard.
And it's also a brokerage. Do you feel that it's the truth? They're saying that in Jiu-Jitsu you win or you learn.
No, I think you learn both ways. I think even when you win, you can also learn.
Yeah.
Like, for example, my first match I won by Aoki. I had a shot at his leg before that one, and I didn't manage to finish it, which means that there's a problem with my mechanics. So I can still learn from that. So even if you win, there's always, unless you literally do like a flying armbar from the get-go, in which case you can't really learn anything because you did everything perfectly. I think you could always learn a bit.
What is the next competition coming?
I've got one in Vienna, as I said, on the 25th of May. It's in 2 weeks. It's a Grand Prix AJP. It's got good cash prizes. I'm going to compete in under 85. And it's like...
Do you, before the competition, do you like check your category, and do you do this kind of, okay, I'm going to maybe fight this guy, or just whoever it is?
It's funny because I've never done that, but people around me always do it for me. and I say to them, I don't really want to check the category, and then they're like, but you have this guy.
Yeah,
and I'm
like, I
didn't want to know, and then they start checking the Instagram. He's good at this technique. He's good at that, so be careful there. I mean, I know like a few people from there. I know, for example, there's Paweł Jaworski. He's from Poland, and he's very good competitor. I know he's got an amazing full sweep on my left leg. So if I end up against him, I'll be aware of that. But I think I've fought people who I was like, okay, I know this guy has a good this, but it doesn't really bother me that much. I remember, for example, when I fought Tarek at trials. I remember some guy telling me, just don't get straight foot locked, man. And I was like, I don't think he has a better straight foot lock than Mateusz, So I remember him just like literally sucking my leg in just so hard. I'm like, okay, maybe he does have a good straight foot lock. And so I ended up sitting back, and then the rest happened, the history. But
tell me a little bit what happened.
So trials was a cool experience. It was my first trials ever. I won my first fight triangle, second fight triangle, third fight Barato Plata, and then the fourth fight I call it the chicken wing. Yeah, it's just a armbar. I was trying it on you actually earlier.
It was nice because when I chasing the underhook from passing from half guard, you get the shotgun, and I was afraid to put the under.
It's a very sneaky move. I've hit it on a few people, and I think it's a very sneaky move because people they get a shallow underhook and they think they're safe.
Yeah,
but no, you're not safe.
That's it.
And I really love that. So I managed to finish that guy. So then I was like in the quarterfinals, and I'm like...
That was against Tarek, no?
Yeah, the fifth fight was against Tarek.
Okay, so you won the first 4?
Yeah, I won the first 4. Yeah. And then like And it's funny because at the beginning of trials there are so many people, and then little by little after the fights it gets like more and more empty. Like the arena gets more and more empty, and the warm-up area there's only like 4 people now.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, fuck. You know?
It's getting real.
And I remember in the crowd there was like 50 Norwegian people for Tarek. And I remember just seeing my team, like Sergio, Christian, I don't even know if it was there. And then I remember seeing my dad and my brother. And that was it. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to play my game as usual. So as I said, he starts going for the straight footlock. He pulled guard before me. I start defending, and I felt like he was going to get a good like single leg X entry. So I sit down, no points for the first half. And then I play a good game. I felt very good. Then he went for a leg lock from the top. He started like stepping over for saddle. I saw it coming, so I started like blocking his leg coming over, and then we get to turtle, and I have him in turtle. And he starts standing up from turtle, and because I don't know why, but I think on Mika Galvao, I tried to pick him up and slam him, but as I pick him up, he just double legs me and we end up in a deep body lock. And then he passes me from the body lock, and that was it, finished.
So basically you are trying something that was not your...
I've never done that before.
Do you regret it?
No, I've learned a lot from it. I've learned a lot from it. I mean, the thing is, we were standing, it was past the halfway point of the match, so I knew if I sat down again, I would probably get some negative point or something. So I was like, I need to try and get him into the ground. And also, I don't feel comfortable with turtle.
And for the listeners, the guy who we're talking is Tarek Hopstock.
Exactly.
So actually, the individual of Tarek Oplata, great fighter. And I think Tarek was he got his black belt already, no?
Yeah, he's been a black belt for a while.
Yeah. Tarek Oplata, actually quite a good move.
I love that move, yeah.
It's hard to get the setup, but when you hit it, when you kind of lock it, you know that there's this...
Wherever they roll, you can get it.
It's high percentage stuff if you can kind of lock it on. All right, but it's obviously because I have this feeling like, which in your case, like it's something big is gonna happen. Like something is gonna happen because you know you're gonna win something big, and already you have won something big because you are spreading the art of jiu-jitsu and you are doing an amazing job. You are teaching other people, and when we are teaching jiu-jitsu, we are saving life and we are changing the people's lives to better.
That's true.
So because also it's not only we teach the martial art, but also we teach how to be a fucking better man and better human being through martial arts. This is when you start jiu-jitsu, especially, it's humiliating. You get tapped all the time, and I think that's why it molds our mind. We become better versions of, because it's so hard.
I've always thought that the reason why jiu-jitsu makes you better is because nobody wants to get smashed.
Yeah.
You come in here and you get smashed by a smaller person than you, by another white belt or something like this. You go back home, you're like, fuck, this guy just smashed me. Yeah. Why is he better than me? I need to go to bed earlier. I need to eat better. I need to take this more seriously. And then little by little, it starts poisoning, in a good way, your life, taking over. And then in the end, you're just a better person for it.
Exactly, and I think it's also, it grows gradually. Like first you start to train, and then you start to train more. Then you can maybe add some stretching, and then you start that maybe, let's talk about your routines. Like, what about, let's say we are not in the gym, we are not training jiu-jitsu. Do you wake up early? What is your, do you have healthy breakfast and your diet? And do you have some kind of a routine, what you have normal days?
Yeah, I don't actually like to have breakfast. Yeah. So before I train, I usually have nothing, maybe some water. Okay. And that's it. Sometimes if I'm feeling tired, I'll have some sugar or something like that. But like before competition. But usually I just don't eat. I have just a bit of water. But on a day where I like to rest, I like to sleep as much as my body wants, so as much as I need. I don't like to put an alarm on. I wake up, I do the things I need to do, and then I go to I do a sauna, I go to the spa, I do cold plunge actually. Nice. Things like this. I also like maybe going to the beach, eating good food, especially. Good protein and recovering, basically. I don't like to be sat down a lot because I feel like that puts a lot of strain on my back. So I'll either be stood up or lying down completely flat. Like I sleep like a vampire, basically. I'm just like this because if I go on my left shoulder it starts hurting, right shoulder starts hurting.
Jiu-jitsu, eh? So the diet, do you do any stretching?
Yes, I've learned to do stretching either with when my body really hurts, I get home
Yeah.
and I'm like, bloody hell, my body hurts. And so I just stretch whatever part, or I stretch after training. And I also like to do like the foam roll on my back. I feel like that helps a lot. One of the biggest things that's hurt me or that's annoyed me the most in Jiu-Jitsu is my lower back. Probably from playing guard that much. I'm also quite flexible, so I used to rely a lot on my flexibility, which I believe is not good. If people start stacking me, I used to be like, oh, you could stack me for days, but now I'm like, don't stack me. I really don't like it. Even if I can be fine there, I just feel like the next day it's just not worth it to rely on your flexibility to maintain a position.
No, and because flexibility not hard to maintain, but still you cannot rely on it. And I agree, because the lower back problems, I love to play every position, but I was doing also a lot of triangles. I play from the bottom, and if I play from the bottom, the lower back gets worse. If I'm like, okay, I decide to be on top and passing, and it's much better.
Yes, actually, I think it was Mateusz who said it to me, Szynski. He was like, I started playing on top and I was like, this is so much easier than playing on bottom. You just have to put a bit of weight and the guy's guard is passed, and that's it. And yeah, because I mean, on bottom, you're constantly working. But I still prefer bottom. I definitely will. I think for now, I will always have my love for guard playing. I just think it's a bit more intricate and it's very, very cool.
Nice. Do you use any supplements?
I use creatine, yes.
Yeah, that's the only.
I use
no
creatine.
proteins, no stuff like that.
No.
Just creatine. And
I used to take protein, but now I just eat protein. I don't. I actually try to get bigger, even though it doesn't look like it, guys. But I try to get bigger, and I just don't like it. I don't feel good. I don't feel like my jiu-jitsu is good because I was actually lifting a lot, and I felt very strong, but then I would just get tired so fast. And then I went down some weight, like from 84 to 80, and I felt amazing. I felt really good, yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I don't use. I think creatine has a lot of benefits apart from just muscle growth. So I use that, and then just a good diet, man. Like it's important to eat well.
What is your like basic food? You like chicken, vegetables, a lot of meat, or vegetable? What is the like basic stuff? What you like to eat?
Like chicken breast, rice, pasta, some sauce that I make. Avocados, blueberries, and then minced beef. Also, I'll make a lot of different meals with minced beef. I'll have a bit of spinach sometimes, and things like that. Just keeping it simple. I like if I'm really hungry in the morning and I really want to eat, I'll have like some yogurt with banana and blueberries, bit of muesli if I want, and just keep it simple and eat good meats. I'm actually trying to eat a bit more fish because I don't really like fish, and I think it's also good for you. But yeah, what do you think?
I think that's great, and I have exactly the same thing. I should eat more fish, but I don't eat fish. But I eat a lot of.
It's funny because we live in the perfect place.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I feel like it's so hard. I need to prepare it, and chicken is just much easier. I eat a lot of like full grain basmati rice. Actually, I need to order from Amazon. It's like €6 a kilo, but like organic, like full grain basmati rice. Amazing when you put it in rice cooker. It's loose. It's nice. But I eat a lot of chicken, lot of chicken and vegetables, and I think I'm at the best shape in my life now. But I'm 45, so I think I'm doing a good job.
I mean, our role, that was not an easy role. I'll tell you what, you were definitely putting it on me. And, you actually foot swept me at the beginning. It was a very nice foot sweep.
And I was thinking about, I was dreaming about, because I have been trying the working, because inogi. Come on, guillotine is amazing attack. And I still think that it's underutilized. Like not many people, and because for example, we have long arms. I've been playing around with it, but with good guys, I'm struggling to finish. But that's something that I will continue work on, because when you have long arms and you, especially like the arm in guillotine, where you go under the arm and you can kind of lock it in. I love the move. I have been studying a little bit of Greg Jones and also Josh Hinger. But Hinger does it weirdly because he says it like this is American sliced cheese. So think about like putting your hand, like keep it like this. And if I keep it like this, I feel it's vulnerable for grabbing and everything. I like something like this. I like to use.
I studied Josh Hinger too, and he cups the chin, and then he says, "Look at your watch," and you start twisting it. And I have the same problem that you have. Like I feel like they could just peel it off. But man, that guillotine was tight. You got me.
But I was.
That was tight. That was
but
tight.
because you killed my moral because I was already. I get it. And actually, I learned it from Josh. So if I have it like this and this leg, I was kind of I was going over your back. But then I tried this Josh trick. I put this over your leg because when you are rolling, I'm overall coming to your mount, but I couldn't finish it because I would maybe wanted to switch it one hand, but you're so good, you're a pump and I lost it. But I had this taste in my mouth already, like I got it. I did it.
I remember I was like, this is so tight, and then I'm rolling, and you kept on following me, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to roll to China right now.
That was amazing. Amazing defense.
It was tight. I think like maybe like get close guard on it, even though the angle will be different.
That's it, because that's exactly it, because I need to maybe emphasize more, like if I get to the position when I can lock if I can get this kind of diamond guard, like a close guard, when I can keep the guy here. Now I'm just, focusing on the upper body maybe like too much, so I need to focus that I can.
Because the grip was good. And I just felt like I was rolling and rolling and rolling. There was one point where I remember I was like, okay, I might have to tap now.
Yeah.
But then I kept on rolling and it was good.
But this is for the viewers, like we are already very good at Jiu-Jitsu, but we get excited about this, like okay, what didn't work, and we are trying to bounce this. But this is also what makes Jiu-Jitsu so special, because this is not only we're learning about like all the martial arts great, but most of the martial arts, they have this specific kind of stuff what they're learning, and then they just repeat that. In Jiu-Jitsu there's always something new, and you can do, for example, the guillotine, there is 40 different variations how you can do a guillotine, and it works for you. For my style, it might be like I need to do it a little bit differently, so it works for me.
Yeah, I actually, in that leg lock camp in Poland, I rolled with a guy called Najdak.
Yeah.
And what he explained to me, because he finished me like twice with a Dars, and I was like, okay, explain to me like your thing, because he's very well known for his front headlocks.
Yeah.
So he actually grabs 4 fingers in the throat, actually, and it's a very good grip. He grabs like there, I don't know where it is, but he grabs the throat, and I remember thinking, I was like, I can't get out of this. And then he grabs, he prefers to go for Dars, so he actually grabs his elbow under the armpit, the one that's under the armpit, and then you just fall, and it gets straight away.
A little bit like what Halpin does. No,
yes.
But it's so deep. Actually, I passed out one time when we were drilling.
Really?
We were drilling. Tom Halpin, what Tom does, this one, you go inside, and it comes under the armpit like this, and this against your chest. And actually, I was doing with Monica, this Polish girl, and we were doing like a drilling between the rounds. And she was like, let's try this. And I said, it's tight. And she took it on, and I didn't have time to tap, and then I just wake up. It was so tight. But have you passed out many times during training?
I was going to ask you the same question.
I have passed out, let's say, 10 times maybe.
Really?
Yeah. But because I come from the old school gym, where actually my coach was also a few times, he choked me out. Even when he was This is a crazy one. Actually, we had only like 3 guys. My coach, me, and one other guy was training. I come from a very small gym called Gaijin Academia. That was my first gym. I've been here already a long time. But anyway, we were training, and he was teaching like shoulder pressure, shoulder of justice, and how do you side control, like how do you just shoulder pressure. And he was doing that. I don't know in what point, but then I just wake up, and I was like, and my coach was panicking. Like the other guy had no idea, so I don't know how long I was out, but. Yeah, it happens. Nowadays, not so often, because if I'm beaten, I just tap, Yeah. And chokes, it's like, sometimes you can resist a little bit more, because the worst thing what can happen, of course, stuff can happen, but you passed out. But in arm bars and stuff like that, it's more dangerous, because you get injured badly. But
definitely. Like, I've always thought if it's a joint lock, tap.
Yep.
But if it's like a choke, if you want to, you can stay on, because the worst thing that can happen, you pass out.
Exactly, and there is so many times when you're escaping the last, you feel like, oh, fucking, I'm going out. And then you get a little bit of air and...
Like in the guillotine, that's how I felt. That's how I felt.
Damn it, I can't sleep now. But have you passed out?
I've never passed out.
Fuck!
I've always
That's good, man, and you have been training with really good guys, and you go until the end.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I've never passed out. I've always tapped. Today, for example, what was it we were doing? We were doing, I think it might have been, side control. Like Santeri's, I don't know if he's working on his Dars or something, but he got me in a Dars, and I remember rolling, and I was like, this is getting tighter and tighter. And then I just ended up tapping, and I was like, that was very close. That was very close. But I've never, You know my friend Charlie?
Yeah, of course.
I remember once we were training in Malaga, and he'd been training for like 3 months or something.
Yeah.
And because we're stupid and we're young and we're idiots, I was like, let me choke you out.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? And I'm like, let me choke you out. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, we'll film it and whatever. So anyway, the people that we were training with, they go to have a shower. And I'm just like there, and I'm so, okay, go on your knees, put your hands out like this, and I'm just gonna get a rear naked choke on you. Yeah. I put the camera in front of him, I start choking him, and it wasn't like I did, it wasn't very tight, and also I was putting this part in his neck, I wasn't like completely there. And so anyway, he was kind of like gurgling, and then he falls, and then I wake him up like this, and he's like, what happened? And I'm like, you passed out. And then I'm like, and then we're talking, and then the people come out, and we're like, and Charlie looks and we're like, you guys don't know what just happened, did you? And we showed him the video and he's like, bro, you're dumb. Then I sent it to his mum actually. And his mum was like, you're coming back with me. But yeah, I would never.
What was the idea to send it to his mom?
I have no idea, but I don't know because I don't actually know.
But hey, now she knows. Jiu-Jitsu artist.
I said to him, I said, if you get your black belt, I'll let you choke me out. I think that's a good deal.
That's a good deal. I remember when we were in our first gym, because we are old school guys. So actually, what we did, we went out for a party the full night, and let's say 3 or 4 in the morning, we were a little bit drunk, and we decided we're gonna go to the gym. And we started to roll, and we started to, sometimes people are passing out there, and we are just old school, crazy. Of course, nowadays it feels even stupid, like this kind of stuff. And nowadays I don't drink and anything, but back in the day it was fully normal. We get wasted, and then in the middle of the night we went to the gym and we choke each other out, and we were just rolling and going like ballistics. It was.
What belt were you?
White and blue belt. Yeah, I came here when I was a 2-stripe blue belt, and I have had my.
I think I remember the first time I rolled with you, you were a brown belt.
I
think. I remember one of our rolls in that corner of the gym.
Yeah.
And I remember trying to do some lapel stuff, and you ended up passing my guard. And I was like, I'll get this guy one day.
You did.
But yeah, I was like.
And I remember we had our favorite, the triangle setup. I think we were playing it from the overhook. Yes,
definitely.
Yeah, we had the same setup, and actually you caught me on that, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Yeah.
How did he know, man?
Yeah, you used the same setup.
That's like one day I remember I was rolling with Santeri, and I slap on the hook tip, and he's like, fuck, you're using my, well, what is the expression? Like using my medicine against me? I can't remember what it was. But yeah, man, Santeri slap on the hook is horrible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So when did you first meet Santeri?
I met him here, and actually the reason, because my first coaches, we had the gym in Fuengirola, and it was really small gym, and it was impossible to, there was not enough students, and we had like 10 guys, the main group, and they said, we're going to go to Finland, and I said, okay, so tell me who is the best guy in Kostelasol who you train, because I decided I'm gonna move there, and they said it's Santeri, and I've never met him, and I was like, okay.
And he's Finnish. So.
Yeah, he's Finnish, and then I decided, okay, I'm gonna move here, somewhere closer to the gym. And I remember I came for a first training, I saw Santeri, and we are totally different. Santeri is like calm, collective, and I'm like fucking ballistics and going crazy all the time. And I saw Santeri, immediately he was like, what the fuck is this guy? I said, yeah, I'm here now, I'm gonna stay here. And he was like, yeah, we will see. But I have been here since that day, and I love our relationship with Santeri, because in Finnish people, we have our own jokes, and we are like totally different, but obviously work nicely together. But
it is. I do actually feel the thing you said about like when Santeri is like, we'll see. That's a very Santeri thing to say, and I think he's actually a good filter for the gym. Like, because he smashes people, and he's so like, guys, what are you doing resting over there? Come on, let's roll. And I think that's a good filter for the gym. Like for people who are like, they don't want to train hard, they're probably not going to want to stay here. Especially at Santeri's class. I mean, of course, if it's not a competition class and you're not a competitor and you're just a hobbyist, then he will probably let you stay here. But competitors that don't want to train hard, Santeri's going to give them a rough day.
But I kind of understand it, because if you're a competitor, if that's something what you want to do, and that's what you need to train harder that you're going to compete. And for example, we're talking about the rest rounds, like when people are just tired, you're not going to fucking rest because you're tired. That's part of the part of the show. What do you think about? Should people have a rest if they are tired, or only if they feel bad, or what is your take on that?
That's a good question.
Do you ever sit out if you're just fucking exhausted?
I have rested, of course, some rounds. I remember like some leg lock camps where there's it's like an hour of sparring. I might rest around and then go with another guy. But generally speaking, I would say if you're going to train once per day, I don't think you should rest that day. In the whole training, the thing is with the leg lock camps, it's like 5 days of double training with incredible people. So eventually my body goes down, and especially with people who are taking steroids.
And this is, it's camped, it's so intense.
Yeah. But if you're going to come here on a Tuesday evening and you haven't trained yesterday, you haven't trained on the weekend, why are you going to rest now? You can rest when you're dead. You can rest when you're sleeping. I don't know. You don't have to rest. Yeah. And those 5 minutes are not going to be the difference between you living and you dying. It'll probably be horrible for you, but that's what you deserve.
That's what you deserve, and it's also I think the kind of those days that break you are the days that also make you.
Absolutely.
So I think it's really important that sometimes, let's say for example, I'm exhausted and I know this fucking strong blue belt, I'm not gonna sit out. Of course I know that he's gonna be on top of me and I need to struggle hard, but that's also like Jiu-Jitsu. Then we are just surviving. Then you need to find the calmness in the uncomfortable positions and you're tired and everything. And especially if you're competing, you cannot create a mindset that, okay, I'm just gonna rest if I'm exhausted. You're gonna fight, even though if you're exhausted, at least you're gonna defend yourself and do what you can.
Yeah, it's a very interesting mindset that you have to be a good competitor, because you have to be confident in your game. You have to also have enough mental strength to be like, if you're losing, you're not just going to give up. You have to keep fighting. How many times have people been losing a match and they've come back just because of their mindset? And also one thing that is not very spoken about is feeding off of your opponent's mindset. For example, in my last fight in Barcelona, I remember the guy's called Eddie Gabriel, and we were having a good match. And I remember him, I remember just putting so much pressure on him, and I remember feeling like he's crumbling. And I was like, this is giving me so much power right now, and I was dead. I remember I was so exhausted.
I watched the match, it was amazing.
And I remember trying to take him down or whatever, and I just kept on pushing and pushing and pushing, and eventually he just turns his back and starts running away, and I'm like, you're not going anywhere. And I just chased him, and I was on him again and again and again, until the very second of the match, I had a crucifix, and I was starting to dig for the choke, and I was like, that was digging off of his mindset. I was feeding off of the fact that he was going down, and he felt like he was getting beaten, so I was just going up, even if I was really tired. And that can happen to people. You can be very, very tired, and then you feel like the other guy's getting tired, so you're like, okay, he's getting tired, so I can start putting even more pressure.
It gives you kind of more fuel when you see that the other guys, and it's not losing confidence, but still the rhythm of the fight starts to...
It just goes to show that you're not really tired, are you?
Yeah.
It's your mind playing tricks and your mind getting comfortable. That's why, every single day you should be uncomfortable with what you do. If you want to leave the sauna now, you can stay another 5 minutes. You're not going to die. And
that's the area, I think, where the growth happens. Where not in the, okay, I'm going to be in sauna in 10 minutes. Nice. No, or cold plunge. I'm going to be here 1 minute. No, you're gonna,
exactly.
push it through.
It's actually the worst competitions I have are in the sauna, actually, with people that they don't even know I'm in competition with them. A guy comes in, I'm like, I was supposed to leave 5 minutes ago, but now I'm not going to leave until that guy leaves. And I'm suffering. And then it turns out that guy's in good shape and he's been here for 15 minutes. And I'm like,
but you cannot now go because you promised for yourself out there for the while.
And then on top of that, it gets worse than that. Once he goes out, I can't go out straight with him, because then he's going to be like, oh, that guy just
he followed
me. So
I
have to say another 3 minutes.
That's my statement. And when the guy is off, now I can go.
That happens often.
Okay.
That builds the mindset.
Nice. Okay, let's talk about a little bit more of because many of our viewers are probably going to be, like in Jiu-Jitsu, white belts, blue belts. So what is the thing that most beginners train wrong? Do you think that there is some kind of mistake? Why people are, or what they can do to make themselves better faster? Is there something that you would... So let's say, just a beginner, what they are doing, what they are doing wrong, and if they are, is it okay if they have really competitive mindset, or they study, or what is the beginner's tips?
I think it depends on the type of person. Mm-hmm. There are people that I've taught that they are beginners, and when they see me do like a trick or something like that, they go straight for that.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to learn the basics. That's exactly what happened to me, actually. I was always into like the tricks, the things like that. And I actually remember I had my coach when I lived in Lisbon. I trained at Gracie Lisboa, and he used to always say, we don't do tricks, tricks are for dogs. And on one side it is true, but on the other side I still love tricks.
Yeah,
I still love tricks.
And you know, they are the spices of this art, you know.
Yeah. So I think that maybe about 5% emphasis on tricks at the beginning, and then 95 on the basics, because the basics are always going to serve you. You know, how to have good posture when you're in close guard, how to get out of close guard, just really basic things. And I think people neglect that. They don't train it as often. And I think just people have different journeys. That's why belts don't really mean anything either. You know, when you have Christian, for example, a blue belt finishing black belts, that doesn't mean he's a black belt. Mm-hmm. He's just not, you know, his black belt level is just a lot higher than other people, because he's just so talented.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And for example, Christian, he's an amazing fighter, but as a black belt, I think also there's a lot of, you know, other what comes to it. You need to be an example. In my mind, I'm traditional black belt. Like I want to be a teacher. I want to help people, and I want to and you need to learn to, you need to grow that. It's not good enough that you can submit the black belts, but. And like you told, like it's a personal journey. I love you use this sentence also, because everybody is always, the problem many times with my students are that they always complain, Miko, like Miko, 2 months ago I was beating this guy, but now he's beating me. And I said always, like, even though it's good to kind of push each other, but always compare yourself to yourself.
Yes.
Like you need to make yourself better version, because otherwise it's going to be confusing. Let's say the other guy is 2 months, he has been only training, you know, every day, and you have not been training so much. So of course there's going to be something. And if you start to always compare yourself to other people, you should be mostly compared yourself to yourself.
It's difficult. Comparing yourself to yourself is difficult. Like
it is.
I always feel like I'm never progressing. Ever. Unless this is why it's actually a trap. It's because the only time I feel like I'm progressing is when I'm beating that guy that I didn't used to beat before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so I'm obviously better now. But it's hard for me to be like, okay, how was my Dars a month ago? I don't remember exactly what it is. What I do know is that my mindset gets better. That's what I do feel like. Like I'm trying to like diversify my jiu-jitsu and open and ask more questions, and I feel like that's important. But I actually have a question for you.
Tell me.
You say that you're like a very traditional black belt. You like to teach. What would it take for you to sign up to a competition?
If I would be just healthy.
Healthy?
Yeah, because I have been also, I pay a big price, because my problem is that I train the way that competitors almost train. I wake up 7 in the morning, I do 350 abs before I even go to the jiu-jitsu training. I push myself to the limits, and I have been signing 4 competitions, and always, like, let's say last 2 or 3 weeks, I've had massive injury, and because I have been building the competition, I'm getting ready, and it was just so devastating. Like 4th time I was like, I had some kind of an infection on this joint here, and they need to put like spikes here, and it was terrible. So I would love to do it, and actually now I feel better. Now I have the herniated back disc. Now it's already getting a little bit better. So my goal is that if I can train like healthy couple of months, then I will sign it, and I would love to do it, because I know I'm already pretty famous in jiu-jitsu world. So for me to be an example, I really don't care if I win or lose. Of course I try to win,
of course,
but it's going to be inspirational for people that I'm going to put my face on the platform and just fucking go for it. I would love to do it. Hopefully I stay healthy and can maybe even compete sometimes this year, maybe during the summer. Now I feel really good. Like the herniated back disc. Have you ever had herniated back disc?
I've never got my back seen, but I probably do.
That was terrible. I got it first time, like I was fighting this. I don't remember if you remember the Daniel guy who was from New York, this lawyer guy, fucking strong guy. But anyway, I was fighting with him on January, and something happened, you know, he got me a rear naked choke or something, and small crank or whatever, and I felt like, oh, it's my back muscle. And then 1 month after, oh, it's not a muscle. It was herniated the back disc, and I was like 3 months consistent pain, 24/7. It was like, I'm still smiling guy, and I want to be positive, but the consistent pain, it's like, it's hard to go from your house and you feel pain, and I just choose to be like that. But yeah, but I would love to compete, and hopefully we can make that happen. It would be so nice to compete with you guys, like
that would be
with my team, be there and just, oh man, I hope I can do it. And
actually, you remember when I told you about the blue belt competition that I had here and that I lost? It was a very difficult thing actually for me to sign up for that comp, because I was like, the circumstances are never perfect. I think I was working a lot at my job, I didn't have the money, I was injured, I was this and that. But then I realized that the circumstances will never be perfect. You will always have a bit of this, you won't sleep well, maybe you have a cold, maybe you have family issues and things like this. And it depends what your goals are, but realistically, nothing matters. Unless you really can't pay for the competition, which even then I'm sure your friends can help you. You know, there's always a possibility to compete, even if the circumstances are not good, and that's always something that can matter. And also, you're not the only one whose circumstances are not good. Everyone, like, no, you don't know what's going on with your opponent. Maybe his mum died yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's always things happening. Yeah. Everyone's got their life, and everyone's human. Everyone's beatable, apart from Santeri. No, everyone's beatable.
Yeah, someday.
But yeah. Oh. You know, actually, another thing that I wanted to mention is I remember listening to a podcast of you where you were talking about your upbringing and how you got into Jiu-Jitsu, and especially how much Jiu-Jitsu changed your life. You were in some particular situations, weren't you, before Jiu-Jitsu, right?
Yeah.
And how do you think, is there anything actually from that life that's helped you in like positive aspects, not just negative?
Well, positive aspects, of course, because I was also in that life, I was also like thinking about myself like still as a businessman. Criminality for me was the way to make money.
Yes.
Not like try to maybe be badass. Of course, that's also part of it.
Yes.
But I don't know, maybe the mindset of staying calm also, because in that world, everybody wants what you have, and everybody is kind of lurking you, and everybody is looking at you, especially because I was in the semi-high position. So I think the staying calm and I don't, stress so much even though somebody is smashing me, or maybe the mindset I have been learning, but otherwise it's that world is not. This is a brotherhood.
It's very admiring actually that you were able to go from that kind of life to this kind of life. I really, it takes a rare individual to be able to
now I'm proud of my discipline. Like I'm a super disciplined guy, and the more I create discipline in my life, the more happier I come.
Yes.
It's strange, because if I'm super disciplined, I like now I'm maybe the happiest that I have ever been. Like I'm super happy, and I have like really strict diet and everything. But of course, sometimes I, enjoy life.
You have to have
the balance.
The balance.
We talked with Santeri, because before Santeri started to win, he didn't party at all. And because I was talking to him like, Santeri, you're a professional athlete, but listen to me. So we need to sometimes, we need to party, and we need to go, a little bit out of the box, because that gives the balance. Because also I think you're going to lose a little bit of your creativity if you only be gym, home, blah, blah, and this kind of a vicious cycle,
You're the first person that I've heard say it like that, actually. Because this is part of the reason why I was saying that competition takes the fun out of Jiu-Jitsu for me. It's because I love the creativity of Jiu-Jitsu, and I feel like if I'm there waking up every morning, taking everything seriously as if it's like a 9-to-5 job, I don't like training anymore. I don't like rolling. I actually don't enjoy it. I have to do some things that I'm not supposed to be doing next to it.
And the balance. And Santeri, after he started to party with me sometimes,
he got better.
He started to win. I don't know if it's because of that, probably not, but still and he became more open, and I saw his jiu-jitsu a little bit shifting, and he was more like openly training with the guys who were really, really good. And he was like maybe more creative, and you know.
It's really interesting you say that, actually.
Yeah, and we were analyzing this with Santeri quite a lot. Because I remember when he was like not still a trial champion and he was not like winning the big things, we were talking with him, analyzing like, what is it that, you know, the best day I can do it, but why it's not happening? And then I was like, maybe you live in your, like, too much in your bubble, like we need to shake it a little bit. And obviously for him it works. And also I feel it also for myself, like even though I love my routines, but I like to, you know, occasionally eat burger or have a beer or just, you know, do something out of myself, go hiking or whatever it is. But a little bit of go out of the box because it keeps the mind clear. Even jiu-jitsu is great and routines are great, but if you are stuck to your routines.
Would you say that's a personality thing? Like, would you say that there are people who have to have their discipline perfect 100% all the time and that's how they compete at their best? And other people who are like us?
Very good question. I think probably yes, because there is probably also guys who should only be training, and if they, you know, party or whatever, eat pizza, whatever, it's going to be bad for them. I think it's individual thing, but overall, as a mindset, I think it's hard to keep this kind of open and expressive, and you try new stuff mindset if you live like really, really disciplined life. But I don't know. I think it's a good question. I think different people have different ways, but for me. Works, and obviously for you also a little bit of the balance.
Absolutely, and I always felt like I was the only one actually who felt like that.
But also because we felt first when we started talking with this Santeri, of course, even the idea like, oh, the secret sauce is that we're gonna fucking get drunk once in a while. Oh, that doesn't sound great, but it's not about to get into the drunk. It's about like doing something out of the out of your normal stuff. So I think that's that's interesting. So when you have been hangover last time?
I don't actually drink.
So never?
I actually. I actually.
You know that the balance training a party.
I have to say that I prefer other things than drinking.
Yeah.
I actually prefer smoking than drinking a lot more. Precisely, well, because of the taste of alcohol. I don't like the taste, and also because of the hangover, actually.
Yeah.
There's no hangover with smoking after it. It's just very bad for your lungs, of course. But the last time I had a drink was actually after my super fight, not the one in December.
Yeah.
I went out with my friend Charlie, and we basically we got smashed. And it's actually a very funny story. So we started at 10 p.m. I bought a bottle of gin, and we started just drinking at mine. It was midnight. We went out to a few clubs. Some things happened. We continued drinking in the clubs, and then he I mean, with all due respect, I do love him. He has definitely a drinking problem. Like, when we were actually at mine drinking the gin, I was like struggling to finish the glass. He was already on his third glass. I go to the toilet, the bottle of gin is like this. I get out of the toilet, the bottle of gin is like that.
Dude,
and he was just killing it.
Charlie, oh man.
Don't tell him.
No. I think I'm going to have him also in this podcast, and I'm going to ask him like, Charlie, what about your drinking? Yeah. But I'm going to try to squeeze the info the way that he is.
Matches,
yeah. What about the gin when William also having a piss, man? What happened to the gin?
But and so actually what happened was, like, it got to 3 a.m. and I was good. I was feeling like the wave. And I remember him, he was just stumbling across everything. and I said, okay, let's hit the next place. Yeah. And then he literally sprints off in the middle of like a street in the middle of Malaga. And I'm like, where are you going? And he just disappears. I call him and he doesn't answer. I call him again 5 minutes later and he's like, oh, I'm in bed, bro. I need to go to sleep.
He's these kind of guys. Left it. You're gone. Thanks for all info.
Thanks for all of that. I go home drunk and I'm like, well, that was a shame.
Yeah. So it ended a little bit like a blah.
Yeah, exactly. I wish it would have ended better, but
you had kind of fun until that point. So.
Until that point, yes. So maybe I'll go out with you and Santiago.
Oh man. you're gonna come with the professor, so it's gonna be fun. What is your favorite cheat meal? Like pizza, hamburger. What is your chicken wings? You have some?
No, none of those. I love curry.
Curry, like Indian food, like spice curry.
I love like a chicken tikka masala with naan bread, cheesy
I
naan
love
bread.
it.
And I loved like I'll take about 6 naan breads.
Yeah.
And I'll just eat the whole curry with the naan bread. I love that stuff.
Where do you have a specific place where you had your best curry? Do you remember that?
I think probably my favorite place is where my mum lives, actually, in Ireland.
Yeah.
She lives in the south of Ireland, a place called Dungarvan.
Yeah.
And in the centre of it, there's a curry place. And I remember having like I think it was a korma.
Yeah.
I remember, and it was the sweetness with the spiciness with the chicken. I was like, I was in love. But that's definitely one of my favorite meals. And there's also actually a good meal that's very difficult to have. When I grew up in France, every time I had a birthday, my parents would make this for me. It's called the raclette.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah, it's the cheese stuff.
The cheese, yes.
I was eating that when I was living actually in France, in Massangy for a while.
You lived in France?
Yeah, I was living close to Geneva with my friend DJ Dandy Jack. So all the best for Dandy Jack. So I was living there in Massangy. I loved it. I was driving my 70s bike, and that was the period where I was finding myself. And I had my phone on Fridays 2 hours. Otherwise, the full week, no phone. I was driving with 70s bicycle on the mountains. I just put some, papers on the wall where I want to be in 5 years, and I was building myself there.
That's cool. How old were you then?
I was maybe 30, like one year, like maybe 6 months before I started Jiu-Jitsu. There I made the decision that Jiu-Jitsu is going to be that. And I built my mindset, and then I came to Spain and started training, and here I am.
That's where you started Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah.
In France?
Actually, I went there in Geneva. There was this crazy Baja gym, and I don't remember who was the guy, but he was fighting in UFC at the moment. He was the main coach, and I went there. I was super nervous. It was maybe 2011 or 2012 early. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be here training at this. Oh, we have only gi training. We don't have spare gis. And I didn't have any money. So I was like, oh, yeah. And there was, hey, just go across the street. It's only 100 euros or something. And it was in Geneva.
Only 100
Yeah, I
euros.
came for a bus from French side to Geneva to train. And I was like, I'll go. And then I just needed to sneak away because I didn't have the... If I would be now me, I would say, guys, I don't have the money for the gi. Can you help? Jiu-Jitsu guys, they would probably give you the gi. But I was like, okay, I was ashamed that I was fucking running away because it was... But then after a couple of months, and I came here and I started to training, but that was the building phase of me because I lost everything, and I lost my family, I lost everything what I had because of the stupid decisions. So I went there and I was like, okay, what I'm going to do with my life? And I started to, train. I love the mountains, 70s bike, bam, I push it through, and I was like, what I'm going to do? Stay calm and everything, and I found my way.
That's why I said I really admire it. Like, honestly, you've done very well for yourself and you should be very proud.
Thanks, man. As right back at you, man. I love seeing your progress, and I really love how you represent yourself and other people on the mats. It's admirable, and it's like amazing. Usually I don't see that so much. So very nice.
I try hard.
But I think we have wrapped it up, and I think I'm gonna have you some point afterwards and after some big win. And thank you so much for coming, and
thank you very much, Mika.
All the best, my brother, and all the best. And guys, go train, keep smiling, and remember, Jiu-Jitsu never dies, baby. Boom. Woo.
Us.
Us.